Hey there friends. So I thought that I would do a little bit of a Q1 catch up, kind of give you a look at the planners and journals that I've been trying to use in Q1, how that's gone, and then what my plans are for Q2. So let's get to it. I would say that it would be honest of me to tell you guys that Q1 for journaling and planning has not gone according to my plan. So let's get started with what I originally had planned to use for journaling and planning for the entire year of 2025, which is this A5 Hobonichi in the Liberty Fabrics cover. This is my first Hobonichi cover, fabric cover that is, and I love it. My husband got me this for a birthday present, and we actually picked it out in store in Washington, D.C. when we went, so that was really fun. And I had intended to use this A5 Hobonichi for the entire year of 2025. So inside of this, I have my A5 Hobonichi in the Avec size, which means that the year is split in half. This sticker right here is from Simone. I am subscribed to her Ko-fi, although I'm pretty sure that she has actually stopped her Ko-fi subscription, but I have been a part of her Ko-fi for 2025. This 4x6 card is from Brandy Kincaid in one of her Extravagant Hope mailings. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a tour through my A5 Hobonichi and kind of show you what I was doing with it. So this page is the 6-month overview for January through June, and then they also have one for the rest of the year, but since you're not in this planner for the full entire year, I actually redated mine and did some more tracking here on this 6-month overview. So this first one is more what I would consider an index, and then this one is actually a habit tracker, which, as you can see, is not been used very well. But I did try. Then we have the monthlies. December obviously is not used. Used January a little bit, February a little bit. Tried using March, totally fell off in April, and haven't done anything for May either. I do like adding important events to the monthlies, so I might go back and do it. It doesn't bother me that like every date doesn't have something. I just note like important things like if my husband is gone, or holidays, birthdays, that kind of thing. So I probably will go in and fill out April and then try to stay up to date until the end of June, but no promises because I'm currently not in this A5 Hobonichi. If you follow me over on my Story Fodder Substack, you probably have already seen these layouts. I was going strong in these weekly Hobonichi layouts for January, and I really love how they look. I used a combination of my own little illustrations as well as some printables from Cat Collage Club to decorate these weekly layouts. I have a little bit of ephemera as well, and I did a really good job keeping up with everything until I think February, and oh, maybe it was more March, because this is February and it's still really full. Yeah, so the middle of February is when I started kind of not really having enough time to dedicate to these really put together weekly spreads. So for this one, I just printed out little photos on sticker paper and then added in a little bit of journaling. This week, I literally just wrote a heading and then added in a little bit of an ephemera. This week is nothing. Tried to go back in, added some ephemera, added some bits and bobs. Again, bits and bobs. bits and bobs. And I think, yeah, March was when I officially went into a different notebook for my weekly log, as I would call it. I should add that the weekly log was supposed to be my primary form of memory keeping this year. So my plan was that I would do these weekly type layouts every day and use that as a jumping off point to complete my digital project life album. But as you can see, yeah, it kind of petered out in February, which is a little bit of my MO. So I'm not super surprised about that, but yeah, it was still kind of a bummer though. The daily pages I never intended to use as actual daily pages. So the fact that these are mostly empty is not a surprise to me. But I did kind of want to use the daily pages a little bit more than I ended up doing. I think that is a combination of the Hobonichi paper being not the best with watercolor and fountain pens, and just the fact that this has been a really interesting year so far. Not a bad year, but just interesting, and I've kind of been off my routine lately. So here's my Q1 goals. I used some of these pages to write notes about like TV shows that I was watching or books that I was watching. This was kind of a review of the show Lessons in Chemistry, some current event type stuff. I like to add in the sticker when I get my Extravagant Hope mailing, because that is definitely a happy meal that I really look forward to each month. Thoughts on the inauguration. As you can see, I had a lot to say. Little drawings from my older daughter. A review of a book, The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. As you can see, I tried very badly to paint or draw the cover of the books and TV shows that I was watching. Oh look, there's a title, but nothing there. So that is pretty much how the daily pages are. I included my daughter's handprint, my youngest daughter's handprint, some washi tape and some order stuff that I got from Yosaka, watercolor. Most of the time, like previously, how I had used my Hobonichi was a lot of watercolor and just doodling. And I really love using my daily pages for that. And this paper, I don't know, there's just something, maybe it's because I know that a lot of people are having trouble with this paper, but there is something about the watercolor that just acts differently, and I'm not in love with it. And yeah, I don't know. Also, I think I might be a little bit less enamored with the A5 size than I have been in previous years, so that probably doesn't help. Kind of a what I've done lately list, a little bit of stuff about what's happening in daily life. I brainstormed some stuff for Substack, did some more watercolor, try to do some ink swatches. I like the crinkles, but yet I don't like the crinkles. They're weird crinkles. I don't know what's wrong or different about these crinkles, but they're different than the previous year's crinkles. Kind of trying to figure out what I want to do with my planning and journaling. Another book review. I kind of like this layout for the book reviews, where I have like a quote and then I write about my thoughts about the book. This is just loose. I had a lot of thoughts about this book, Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. I loved this book so much. I have yet to watch the show, but it is on my list for this year. But the book was A+, 5 stars. And I had lots and lots of thoughts. So that was nice to be able to have a place to put that in there. Some more ephemera that I'm covering up. I don't think I did anything for April really, other than a few thoughts about my 30-day prompt series that I was having over on Substack. I was supposed to write more about the prompt energy, but I ended up just coloring in what my plans for Q2 of 2025 and what I wanted to be using. A flower my daughter found in the backyard. Another one of the prompts from my 30-day series over on Substack. Another one of those prompts. I was really unimpressed by this particular day because this particular ink was not fun. It was very feathery. My pen did not write as well as I wanted it to. It was more like a medium when it should have been a fine, and it wrote as a fine everywhere else, except for in my Hobonichi, and that really annoyed me. But yeah, this is the end of April and the beginning of May, and as you can see, there's not a lot of stuff filled up in the daily pages. And again, that's not a surprise. I do have some ephemera bits that I want to stick in here now that I know that I'm not going to be writing as much in this book throughout the first 6 months. But yeah, so I was originally just going to keep up with the weeklies here and not really worry about the dailies, but the weeklies ended up not really working out for me either. So yeah, it's a little bit disappointing, but when I realized that I was not able to keep up with this A5 weekly spread for my weekly log, I decided to get a Hobonichi Weeks. So let's pop that over here. So this is a really pretty Hobonichi Weeks. I love the cover. It's so cute. And originally I had bought this to be kind of like my health and workout planner, but then I kept seeing a couple of other YouTubers use this as their like weekly memory keeping diary, and I loved what they did, so I thought I could do the same thing. This is a spring start, by the way, so I started this around the time that my A5 Hobonichi petered out. Started this on February 24th, and I was using the left side as kind of like a log each week, and then adding in some to-dos and things like that on the right side. And I really like this. As you can see, not every day has stuff in it. This one doesn't have anything. This one has a few things. This one has decoration, but no writing. And this is Easter, and we literally just have 2 stickers, and that's it. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to be using this Hobonichi Weeks. I love how these weekly spreads look. I do. I really love them. But somehow it is both too much room and too little room to do my weekly log. And you're going to see what I mean here in a second when I show you what I'm currently doing my log in. But I really do like how it looks, and I was so inspired by the YouTube videos that I've been watching. I will have them linked down below because I don't remember their specific names. I think it's Adri's log, and there's another channel that uses the Hobonichi Weeks kind of like this that I really enjoy watching, but I will have her linked down below as well. But yeah, this kind of didn't gel with me either, and I stopped filling it out in April. In the notes section, I have a reading log I have some things that I've watched. I have not filled in April yet. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have in this Hobonichi Weeks. I need to find a use for this because it's gorgeous, and I cannot and will not just have it sitting on my shelf just gathering dust when I really, really love it. And I even have the Hobonichi Weeks pencil board, and it matches and it's beautiful and I love it. So I need to find a use for it, even if it is not a weekly log. Oh, and this was also part of my beginning lineup for 2025. This is also in the A5 size, and this is just a regular Hobonichi lined notebook that I was using for morning pages. I have them kind of together because they're morning pages. So they're not something that I necessarily want to share on the interwebs. But I was using this for morning pages. Obviously you can tell that I did not get that far. So yeah. So maybe you're asking, Elizabeth, what are you going to be using for quarter 2 of 2025? And that would be a good question. And I think I have it narrowed down to these 3 notebooks. So this is a traveler's notebook. It looks very dark on camera. This is a Chic Sparrow Outlander in whatever their green color was called. I believe it was Fraser. Leather. I love it. I wish I had many more of these traveler's notebooks in this leather because it is my very favorite. I also have this 9 3/4 charm, which is actually from a Alex and Ani bracelet that I don't wear. That was very loud. Sorry about that. But that is my setup for the cover. I don't have anything in the pockets. And yeah, before we get into that, I'm going to show you my daily log. So my daily log, as of April 23rd, is in a field notes. So I have gone ahead. I have a couple of field notes notebooks that I have in my stash, and I've been really interested in this size, but it's too small for like bullet journaling or planning. So I decided, what if I used it as a daily log? And I just simply used 1 day per page, or 1 page per day. Yeah, 1 page per day, I guess. And I just wrote stuff about the day for each page. I have a weekly recap that I add like little things throughout the week to, and then I redate the pages and start all over again with the next week. And this is my 2nd week of doing this in the field note size, and I really like it so far. So here's hoping that this sticks and I end up using these field notes for my weekly / daily log. So yeah, this would originally been information that I would have kept in my A5 Hobonichi or my Hobonichi Weeks. But like I said, it was somehow both too much room and not enough, and I decided to just slim things down a little bit and just have a place where I can write and maybe doodle if I would like to. And you might be able to tell, but this is written in fountain pen, and the field notes paper is not necessarily made for fountain pen. It doesn't do a horrible job, but you can tell you can't really draw with fountain pen. So I just changed to my regular Uni Jetstream, and that's what I have been using to write in here. I did a little bit of a pen test on the back page. I can use brush pens. I can use my Tombos, and it did a decent job with a few of my inks. My Diamine Sweet Dreams didn't it didn't act the same as it did in my Hobonichi, so it didn't like feather everywhere, which was odd because it did in my Hobonichi. But it didn't in the field notes, and it also didn't bleed through. The green ink that I'm using this month did a little tiny bit, but overall not bad. I like that I can use my brush pens and my midliners to add a little bit more color, and I don't actually mind that I'm having to use my Uni Jetstream to like log the day with. So that is currently what I'm using as my daily log. I kind of tuck it in here, and every night I just add some stuff in there, or I add some stuff throughout the day. So that kind of just depends on how the day goes. I also have this traveler's notebook from last year. This is last year, the last 6 months of last year. Yeah. And I am redating it and using it as a weekly doodle slash photo memory keeping for the week. So I started on April 7th. As you can see, I have not added any journaling, but I have added in my ephemera in my photos and also some drawings as well. I really like the Midori paper, and I think I will enjoy using this up. Since I'm already redating these pages, I actually don't mind if I miss a couple of weeks, because like I'm redating these pages myself. So say I don't have anything to add for like the 21st to the 29th or whatever that would be, I can just skip this and start May and then go on to the next week. So they might not necessarily be like each week, but if I have something, some photos or something that I want to add, I can add them in here. So I just have to journal for these weekly spreads, but I do love decorating them, and I'm trying to allow myself the ability to decorate them and not necessarily add words, because those words are other places. So if I take joy out of just decorating this spread, doing some painting, doing some stickering, and adding in photos, then that is worthy and that is okay. So that's my weekly journal or weekly log in my traveler's notebook. I also have this, what do they call this? The lightweight insert from Traveler's Notebook. This is one that has, I've taken out some pages, but I'm using this as a more long form journal. So not a long form journal as in like a throw up journal or morning pages journal where I just like rant about everything, but this is more like a memory long form journal. So I opened it up with this watercolor piece that I did. I was very much inspired by Azari Jarrett. She did these really beautiful circles that she put in some line drawings of flowers and things, and it was so gorgeous. And this does not in any way live up to her piece, but I was inspired by her to make this. And then I also wanted to write down some intentions. I added in a photo of my family from the very beginning of the year. And then I started where I was at and documented a spread of my husband's birthday weekend, which I really like. I can use fountain pen in this notebook, and it doesn't bleed through or anything. It doesn't act odd like the Hobonichi does. So I'm really happy about that. All of these photos are printed with my Epson 2720, and they're just printed on regular printer paper. And I would say that they still end up pretty good. As you can see, I'm cutting things out, kind of more of a teenage me vibe. I was really into cutout photos when I was a teenager doing journaling, and I really liked going back to that for this particular layout. It was fun. So that is that spread. I also have this spread. I'm gonna cover that up for a second. I have this spread that does not have any journaling, but it does have drawings. So I took a photo of the view on one of our drives, and I tried to recreate that in gouache / watercolor. I used the Kuretake Gansai gouache to draw these. We live next to the Wichita Mountain Reserve in Oklahoma currently, and so We saw some longhorn on our drive, and then also a lot of buffalo because it's springtime. We even got to see some little baby buffalo, so I plan on writing about that. And since this is just like a memories journal, if I don't have anything to write about, I won't. So that was the last like cool thing that I want to record. So once I add in my journaling, maybe I will add another entry for the latter part of this month. Maybe I will add something that happens in May, but it's not really like a timed thing. I can add to this book as little or as much as I want, and not daily. So that's something that I'm enjoying. And then this is a cut down Hobonichi that I am using as kind of just a bullet journal or scratch pad. So I have a couple of things in there, but it's really just for notes and things like that. And then the last thing that I've added to my journaling lineup for quarter 2 of 2025 is this Moleskine that I'm using as my morning pages. So this is also something that is new. I started this 2 weeks ago, and I am just writing as many pages as I would like, as many pages as comes to me daily, or every other day, things like that. I'm not going to show these because these are very personal, but I'm using this card from Brandy Kincaid's Extravagant Hope as my pencil board. It doesn't completely fit in the A5 slim size from Moleskine, but it works. This is a lined notebook, which I think is really helping me. This is also paper that I don't really care about. So I think I have less of a mental barrier to writing in this notebook and just like ranting in this notebook than I did in my Hobonichi A5 lined notebook, because that paper actually worked really well, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to use this beautiful paper, this Tomoe River paper that actually is behaving correctly for, journaling that isn't necessarily pretty or nice memories, and that kind of kept me from wanting to use it for morning pages, so I would not write long form, and that's not great for my mental health. So I changed to this one because it's super cheap. It's not a notebook that I am going to wish that I had used for something else, and yeah, it works perfectly for my morning pages, or daily pages as I like to call them, since they rarely get done in the morning. To personalize it, I just added this oof sticker from Brandy's Extravagant Hope. That was from either last year or the year before. I've been one of her subscribers for a really long time, so I have a backlog of her stickers because I hoard them because I love them so much. But I added this to this morning pages journal because, the stuff in here is oof. So that is probably going to be my planning / journaling system for quarter 2 of 2025. I might add back in my Hobonichi weeks as a planner, just because like it is a really good size for a planner, and I really want to use this book because it's so pretty. But yeah, we'll see. So this is what I will be hopefully using for quarter 2 of 2025. Thank you for sticking around for my rambly talking through of my journaling system for this year, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.